Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a portal to Minecraft like this, in your very own room. And this time we're going to be walking through it. I already showed you how to do something like this in the Spooky Scary Skeletons video, but it was kind of vague on the tracking part, and I think I improved the workflow a little bit. And anyways, I also want to be showing you how to import your Minecraft world into Blender today. So let's get on to it. First, what you're going to need to do is record a video of your door, or the portal that you want to be stepping into the other world with. I recorded this video with the Blackmagic camera app, and I use this because it's pretty simple to turn off the stabilization, which makes it easier for the program to track the video. Next, what you're going to want to do is track the video. I decided to use Polyfjord's free photogrammetry solution because it spits out a much better track than the built-in Blender one, and it's completely automatic. I'll link his video on how to set it up, and if you want a more in-depth tutorial, but I'll also give a little quick tutorial right here, so you can set that up easily. First, go to the video link down below and open these 5 links. Go ahead and download glomap release 1.12.3 and glomap release 1.1.0. Get the CUDA versions if you have an NVIDIA GPU, and if you don't, just keep the no CUDA version. And keep in mind that you need the CUDA toolkit as well if you want to use CUDA, or else it'll fall back to CPU. Then go get the FFmpeg Git Essentials 7z file, and also make sure to grab the custom bat file made by him to run this whole thing. Finally, make sure to install the Photogrammetry Blender add-on to Blender so you can import the tracking data, and make sure to install all the dependencies in the add-ons tab. Next, make a folder called glomap video tracker or something like that, and in this folder, make sure your hierarchy looks exactly like this. Next, take everything from inside the bin folder and the plugins folder of the glomap zip file and put it into the O1 glomap folder. Next, copy everything from the bin file of the glomap zip and put it into the glomap O1 folder, and make sure to skip all the identical files that were already there. Next, drag everything from the FFmpeg Essentials 7z file and drag that all into the O3 FFmpeg folder. Finally, move the bat script that you got into O5 script folder, and you can delete all the zip folders or files and you should be done. It's all installed. So to use this thing, you need to drag your video into the videos folder and run the bat script. Now all you gotta do is wait like 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your video's length or the resolution of the video and your CPU and GPU's power. It could be longer or shorter. Once it's done, it'll have made a new folder in the O4 scenes folder. By the way, if your videos seem to not track fully, this is a problem with glomap having a limit on how long it can track your videos. glomap by itself reliably tracks longer, so if you want to use that, I'll link another video down in the description. All you really need to do is not move anything from the glomap folder into the O1 glomap folder and rename it to O1 glomap. Next, also go down to that second video, and he provided a second bat file that will only run on glomap. Next, we'll go into Blender, and in the top right, press File, Import from glomap, the model/workspace one. Once you click it, just navigate to that new folder that was made in the O4 scenes folder. Click Import without selecting anything. You can also select suppress distortion warnings and import points as mesh to make your life much easier. Now your camera data will be tracked into Blender. I found that you get an error when you're using Blender 5.0 because the photogrammetry add-on I think was made for version 4.5 and below. So all you really need to do is get version 4.5, import everything into there, and then you can also just open that file back in 5.0 and all your tracking data should be there. Once you have them imported, you can just uncheck the camera's collection because we don't really need it. Next, to reorient the plane so that it's flat, all you need to do is add an empty object, select everything by pressing A, and parent everything to that empty. Make sure the pivot point is also selected to the cursor so it's easier to scale and move around. And just keep on rotating it and moving it until it seems right. Once you have everything oriented the right way, we need to get our Minecraft world into the scene. So first thing you need to do is boot up Minecraft, make sure it's a Java edition, any version should work. And create a new world, and make sure you name it something that you remember, or you can use an existing world. Then just fly around until you find a nice spot that you can, enter the portal through. Pro tip, if you go into spectator mode by typing /game mode spectator locator, you can scroll up on the wheel and sprint to go really fast, and it'll help you find a better spot. Once you find a good spot, just press F3 and mark down the coordinates, and save and close. Next, we need to install a program called Mineways. It's a robust program that lets you export things in your Minecraft world into 3D software. Its main purpose is to export stuff that you've made into, 3D printing software so you can 3D print your builds, but it can absolutely be used to export large areas with millions of vertices. Just don't try too big because it'll probably crash. First, install the link from down below and extract the folder. Then go into the mineways.exe file and open that. You'll see a little window pop up, and on the window, press File and open New World. And then go click that new world that you made or the old one that you used. When it opens, you'll see on the bottom left, whatever your mouse cursor is pointing on is the coordinates in like world space. So just go ahead and find those coordinates that you marked down before, and you'll find the exact spot that you had gone to. Next, by using right click, you can drag a box around the area that you want to export. There are two handy sliders on the top that'll show how high it'll export and how low it'll go. The bottom one is pretty important, especially because that's how low you want the world to go. You can either use a slider or middle click on an area and it'll choose that elevation. You can also press T to hide the water if there is any water in your scene. Next, all you need to do is press Ctrl R or go to File and Export for rendering, and it'll prompt you to save it. All the default settings are perfectly fine, so you should just use that. Now all you need to do is import the model that you got into Blender. First, you need to import the OBJ file. All you need to do is drag it into Blender's interface and it should import correctly. Next, you gotta reposition the world and scale it to your liking. Just for note, one Minecraft block is 1 by 1 meter wide, but you can set it to whatever because it's your render. Now, once you go into the material preview tab, you'll see that all the textures look kinda blurry, or muddy, I guess. This is because the textures used in Minecraft are really small, I think 64 by 64 only, and since any texture that is imported to Blender will default have bilinear filtering, it'll kind of smooth out the gradients, which we don't want. I don't know how to do this automatically, unfortunately. You'll have to go into every texture, go into the actual texture thing, and change the interpolation from linear to closest. And you gotta do this for basically every texture in the scene. I just did it for all the main ones, for example the grass, dirt, flowers, grass blocks, trees, all those main ones I changed, but the ones that only have like 1 or 2 blocks or are really far away, I didn't change those. Next, I went to cycles and changed the background to a sky texture to get the lighting to match as I did in my door with all the lights that I had set up. It didn't line up the best, but I'd say it's more than enough. Next, I added some embellishing features. First, I changed the water to look a bit more like, watery, I guess you could say. I made the texture glass and added a fluid noise texture from this built-in noise nodes add-on that Blender has. I also added a volume absorption node, but it kind of didn't really make a difference, so I left it out. Second, I made the grass actually move with the wind. So all I did was add a noise texture to the vector of the images and use that to displace the pixels on the image to make it look like it's wavy. It's a little complicated, but all it does is that the more value on the X, the more right it shifts. So the noise texture will shift it right randomly, kind of. Third, I added another noise displacement to the trees to make it look like they're waving in the wind as well. It's basically the same thing as the one that we added before with the grass, but I also added a noise displacement, so it looks like the leaves are actually moving around and not just the texture waving. Fourth, I added a cloud layer by making a giant box in the sky and adding a principled volume texture to it and tweaked it with some noise textures to make it look more like clouds. Finally, I added real lights to the torches and houses around the scene because the emission textures just weren't really doing it, and it just looks much more homey, I guess. Before we move on, I want to point out that the models that the program spits out are very unoptimized. It's not at any fault of the program, that's just how it works. It's meant for like 3D printing stuff and made for small models, but we're exporting a giant scene. So the first model that I got had more than like 12 million polygons, and it was just really slowing down the whole process. So I went in, I deleted all the caves that are underground that you'll never see. I split some of the model into their separate textures, like for example, the grass and the trees will get their own model, and some of the flowers will also get their own model, and that just helped optimizing the scene a bit more. It still has about 3 million polygons, but that is much better than the 12 million that was there before. I'll link the updated model that I had down in the description if you guys want to use that instead of the one that, you get by your own, if you don't want to go through all that process. Finally, it's time to hit the render button. But wait, you might be asking, how do we actually composite this on top of our, original footage? Because we don't have anything to block out the scene. Well, worry not, because if you remember that point cloud that you get from earlier with the actual tracking data, you can use that as a baseline for geometry to model out your room, kind of, to make like a little blocker for where the door is, and that can be used as an alpha map. So first, what you want to do is add a new layer and make it a copy of the scene. Second, we need to hide all the things that we don't need, mainly the world mesh, but if you've added anything else, just hide that as well. Third, we need to make it the geometry of your room. So add a plane and extrude, loop cut, do whatever you need to do, and make it so that it matches up with the geometry and the footage. And once you have a good enough geometry, add a material to that geometry. Just add a plain HSV node right to the material output and make it completely black. Next, create a sphere around the whole thing and do the exact same thing to make it white. And this will give us our alpha map that will also move along with the scene. Now you may be asking, why don't we just make the film transparent and make that geometry just a holdout object? Well, if we make the film transparent, we won't be able to see the skybox behind us, and I really want to keep that because the sun looks pretty nice and it makes sure the scene lights up correctly. There's probably a better way of doing this, but I think this one works the best and is the most versatile. Now, I want to point out that I made a pretty big mistake while making this. So when I tracked the footage, I think my video wasn't the best shot because my video doesn't have many contrasting points near the end. At the beginning, you can see the carpet, the door, and everything has a lot of nice places to add landmarks, but nearing the end of the scene it starts getting a bit more vague. Also on top of that, glomap did not track my whole thing, and it ended just right before my door exits the frame. So to fix that, instead of retracking or remaking a new video, I added some CG camera movement at the end to try to track my footage as far as the door will go, and after that I just did my own thing. And I told myself later that I'll mask it out in DaVinci with using like a mask or something. And that was a bad idea because it took forever to do all of that. I didn't want to re-render it because the render took almost 13 hours to do it. I started at 12 in the night and it ended at 3 in the afternoon the next day. So I didn't want to re-render that after I realized I'm taking so long in masking this. So I highly advise you to retrack the footage if anything looks wrong. It'll be so much easier and it'll save you hours of work. Next, I imported all the video clips and images into DaVinci Resolve. I realized for some reason that the image sequence did not actually line up with the CG render that I made. For some reason, I think the glomap tracking did something to it, but instead of the video, I just cut that part out and I used the image clip that glomap gave instead as like the foreground. So time finally came to do the masking out, and it was really bad. I don't understand why it couldn't find the door. It just kept on tracking something else, or it kept on losing the track, and I just didn't know what to do. So finally, after hours, I was just gonna retrack the sequence and re-render it, but I figured out that we could just use a box mask plus some point tracking on the edges to get a decent mask. In the places where it couldn't find the points, I just manually keyframed it, so in some places the mask is a little jittery, and even where it did track, it wasn't the best. So, like I said, I highly recommend retracking your footage if it doesn't line up, but it works well enough. So finally, I added the masked track above the render, and I tried to make it match. By the way, I'm getting these kind of clips from the image sequences in DaVinci by making a new timeline, putting all the clips in, setting them to one frame, and then dragging the timeline that we made into a new timeline, and DaVinci just recognizes that as a regular clip. So then after that, I added some sound effects, some visual effects like bloom and god rays, and finally it was time for the video to be done. So here you go, and I hope you enjoy. Whoa. Dang, I wish I was in Minecraft right now. Oh. Whoa. What? I really do like this video that I made. It actually worked out so well, even with the glaring issue of that mask not being perfect. The grounds sometimes look a little wonky, the mask jitters quite a bit, but I think if you just focus on the portal aspect, it, doesn't really affect it as much. But I really do wish I retracted because I wanted to do so much more with that mask around the door. I was gonna do stuff like adding a little trail on the bottom of just like grass blocks, so the transition from floor to grass is a little better, because right now, as you can see, it's just a straight line and it just doesn't look that good. I think the scene is a little too static as well. I know I have the moving trees and the waving grass, but I think I should have added like some villagers running around or some animals like here and there, or maybe even Steve like mining a tree or something like that, and I think that would have made the render much better. But I think I'm happy with this final product, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. I'm trying out this new editing style of voiceovering the clips that I made before, and less of an improv kind of thing. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And if you do, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel so you guys can see more from me and you can see more like this content. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.